The Islamic Republic is hoping that if, for example, we take out some of the power plants, and I suspect that the Islamic Republic might on purpose decide to shut down the electricity to residentials instead of factories. I mean, they can go with shutting down factories instead of residential, but because they want the people to suffer instead of their income, they might actually remove the electricity from the residential so that the Iranian people turn against the Americans and Israelis, right? On purpose, right? They might do that instead, right? I mean, they might even have here's a problem. You might take out a power plant and you might still have enough electricity to run residentials. But the Islamic Republic might think like, this is actually a great opportunity for me to shut down electricity to residentials just so that people will say like, oh, this is because they hit the power plants. So they run to turn the Iranian people against the Americans and Israelis. So that's what the Islamic Republic will be banking on because this has been devastating. That the fact that the Iranian people inside Iran are on the side of the Americans and Israelis and for this military operation, it has been humiliating. It has been very devastating for the propaganda war of the Islamic Republic. So the Islamic Republic would want to do everything it can to turn these two groups against each other, and this might be its opportunity. So that's how it could turn against these military operations, especially because the Iranian people supporting these military operations has been the key selling point in America for a way to show that this is a just war, this is the right thing to do. And President Trump requires the political capital, especially because we're getting closer to the midterms in the United States. He requires political capital because at some point the Congress could actually stop him, right? Because they need $200 billion for this, and the Congress might not give it to them. Even the people in Congress who are on the side of President Trump, they have to like President Trump doesn't have to worry about being reelected, but they do. So they might actually like think about their political career at some point as we get closer to the midterm. So that's the negative side. The positive, well, not the positive, the way that this could actually escalate the revolution. I'm trying to choose my words carefully here because I don't want to be like, oh, it's great that the people are suffering. I'm like, I have to, like, somebody might take this out of context and suggest that I'm saying that, right? The thing is that a lot of people. So we have three types of people in Iran. Like this is a simplified version of it: the pro-regime people, the anti-regime revolutionary people, the anti-regime non-revolutionary people, right? So the anti-regime non-revolutionary people who are people, if you ask them if you want the regime to go, they were like, of course. But they're not part of the revolution. They don't do anything. They're not actively active online about it. They don't participate in protests. They're like, I hope somebody gets rid of them. Okay, but like I hope somebody does something about it. Hopefully one day we will be free. But they're not part of the revolution. So we call them. That's why we call them gray people, right? So these are the non-revolutionary people who are not pro-regime either, right? So the idea is that if their lives turns to shit, they will turn from, like, these people are not going to turn pro-regime. Like it's really hard to turn people pro. Anti-regime people are not going to turn pro-regime. Like anybody who's against the regime is a lost cause from the regime's perspective, right? So the idea is that they will turn from non-revolutionary anti-regime people to revolutionary anti-regime people because they can't take it anymore, because I have nothing else to lose. My entire business is shut. I know some people in my family that were killed, and now we don't have electricity either. So yeah, we're living like cavemen. Let's just get this done and over with, right? So the main cause, a lot of Western analysts will tell you that, oh, this is going to have a rally around the flag effect. That is nonsense. Anti-regime people in Iran are not going to become pro-regime. Okay, the main cause is that they might be anti-regime, but they also might start getting frustrated with Americans and Israelis. Right? They might be anti-regime, anti-American, anti-Israel. That's the cause. They're not going to become pro-regime. That's the cost that we have to worry about, that we need to like manage. And the other part, like when it comes to the people itself, is going to make more people, might make more people get convinced that we need to get rid of the Islamic Republic. But another reason why it might actually bring the fall of the revolution closer is that the electricity is feeding the IRGC. Like the IRGC is using the electricity as well. So that might be another way that might help bring the Islamic Republic down faster. But if the calculation, I hope this is not the calculation, because if the calculation is like the Islamic Republic will be like, oh no, the poor people are going to be without electricity. Okay, we're going to back down. That's the wrong calculation. The Islamic Republic doesn't give a shit about the people. They're willing to sacrifice the entire people in Iran if it means that they could get to maintain their rule. So, I mean, not just the entire people in the in Iran, the entire people of the world, if they have to. Like they say it, they say this is not. By the way, guys, I hope you understand that when we say these things, these are not interpretation of their actions. Okay, this is interpretations of their actions plus what they say. Like they don't hide these things. This is not something that they say something else, but they're tricking us. No, they actually we have years of them actually saying that they're willing to sacrifice half of the planet if they have to, if it means to continue Islamic rule. But anyway, Sabina, does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. That I think you covered like kind of like what I was thinking. Like, like the Iranian people aren't really ready to like camp out in their homes without electricity. It's going to be like a big hardship. And you covered kind of the ins and outs of like where this may or may not go. I guess, but so thank you, and John Fedier Iran.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Let me add something to that. I will bet, I might be wrong about this, but I will bet that more Iranians will be like, the effect on more Iranians will be like, okay, this is like, we need to get rid of this regime. Making more Iranians determined to get rid of the regime will be a bigger impact than the Iranians who will be turning against
Right.
Americans and Israelis.
Well, because it
Because
may show them further that they don't care about us. Like they didn't back down. They don't care about us like losing these power plants. Yeah.
because even among Iranians who think like, I hope the Americans don't hit the power plant, what I've seen is that they will always blame the Islamic Republic for what happens to them. Right? They might
Right.
be like, "Oh, Americans, please don't do this," but if it happens, they will see the source of all their misery to be the Islamic Republic, not the
Right.
Americans or Israelis. They brought this war to our land.
Right. And they didn't back down. And like open up the strait. So yeah. So well, thank you.
Thank you, Sabina.